everyone, it's Morrow and Bryan Laflamme here. We're coming back right at you with a quick one today. We're going to be talking about a really cool new down payment assistance program that is happening right now here in Washington State. It just released, I believe, on the 1st. Am I correct, Bryan?
Yeah, I didn't hear you. I should probably listen to you while we're doing our lives. What did
you say? You're like, oh, I'm trying to get work done while we're doing this.
Yeah.
So July 1st is when this new program that we're going to talk about just hit, right? So this is brand spanking new. And folks, this could be a game changer if you qualify for it. It's up to 20% down. So Bryan, why don't I let you kind of take it away and talk about this program called the Covenant
Homeownership Program. So
yes,
this was passed because of the Covenant Homeownership Act, passed in 2023, which was had bipartisan support in the Washington State Legislature. And what that law had them do was, one, they had to do research study. They had to investigate housing discrimination against marginalized communities in Washington State, what role government institutions had in that discrimination, the impacts of it, the potential remedies, and these findings would show who would be eligible for assistance and establish a framework for creation of this Covenant Home Loan Program. So for homebuyer assistance, they are getting it from a $100 document recording fee that they have been collecting since January of this year on every real estate transaction that closes. And they are filling a fund in order to supply this down payment assistance money to these marginalized communities. So who is eligible, you might ask? Of course you would ask, because, well, I'm the one talking, and I just asked that.
Well, that's the biggest question.
Yes.
For a program that is limited, who is eligible, right?
Who is eligible. So it has to be you or a family member, an ancestor maybe, who, depending on how far back you want to go, who lived in Washington State before April 1968. So April 1968 is when the Fair Housing Act was passed.
Okay.
And you have to, and the included classes are Black, Hispanic, Native American, Alaskan Native, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islander, Korean, or Asian Indian. Now, I think it's amazing. I think it's incredible and it's wonderful. And there are people that I've heard say, well, why not these people? Why not these people? Why not these people? It was from the research study that they were bound to do by the Washington State Legislature. And they found the classes that were most discriminated against and then built a fund in order to help those people start to build generational wealth that they were held out of. So other qualifying factors are you have to have currently make 100% of the area median income for the county in which you're buying. So here are a couple of counties and their area median income. King County, 100% of the area median income is $147,400. So if you make,
so you have to be under that or at that?
At that or under.
At that or under. Can't be making over 147,000 in King County, folks.
Now this is what's called qualifying income. So qualifying income is not household income. It's just what we as a lender use to qualify you for a mortgage. So say one person makes 100,000 and another person makes 100,000. If we don't need both of those incomes to qualify for the loan and we only use one of them at 100,000, well then you would be under the area median income for this loan program. Or say you have a base salary of 120 and you make commissions of $30,000 to $40,000 to $50,000 a year. If we don't need to use the commissions to qualify you, then you would be under the area median income. So it is qualifying income, not household. Snohomish County, same number, 147.4. Kitsap County, 119.7.
Okay.
Thurston County, 116.7. And this surprised me the most. Pierce County's 112.300. It surprised me that Pierce.
It's lower than some of the other ones.
Yeah, lower than Thurston and Kitsap. So the way this loan program works, it is a 0% interest second mortgage.
Right.
No payments, and it is deferred until you sell the house, refinance, move out, or pay the loan off in 30 years. So an example, if you're buying a house for $500,000, some quick back of the napkin math, 25% of $500,000 is.
Wait, you were asking me?
Yeah, 20%.
I was moderating right now. Sorry.
$100,000.
$100,000.
20% of $500,000 is $100,000. So you would get $100,000 at 0% interest for your down payment. So you would finance $400,000.
Bonkers.
Incredible. Yeah. Additionally, the Housing Finance Commission is setting aside money to allow you to roll in closing costs into a down payment assistance loan as well. So normal standard buyer side closing costs, it doesn't count for a rate buy down, but just normal standard buyer side closing costs. You could get up to 3% of the purchase price and closing costs too. So what the goal is people who have historically been marginalized and don't have the opportunity for their parents or their grandparents or their great grandparents to have passed real estate wealth down. Now they get to start here, and they get to start here with a 20% down payment, so that they can start to build equity, build wealth, and then start to push that down to their generations as well. Those of us who have done well, whose families have done well because they've been, it's been an easier road to own real estate. We've had the opportunities that most people in marginalized communities haven't. Now, we're not saying that every person in a marginalized community hasn't had these opportunities, and we're not saying every person in a non-marginalized community has had these. There's poor non-marginalized people, and there's wealthy marginalized people. But the vast majority fall into this, and you're not going to be able to in a population as large as ours. You're not going to be able to have individualized solutions. You have to just do what's the best you can with what you can do. So it's an incredible program. Now, I told you guys that it is raised by having an extra $100 recording fee on every real estate transaction that's done in Washington. So that means that the money is limited. It's limited by how many people buy real estate and how much they have for those recording fees. So, it's gonna, if the money runs out, the money runs out, and then they wait for it to replenish, and then
you're like on a wait list until it replenishes, or
yeah.
Okay.
So it is an absolutely incredible program. It launched July 1st. You have to have two things if you're going to get this loan outside of your personal qualifications we just talked about. You've got to work with a Washington State Housing Finance Commission trained loan officer and a Covenant Home Program trained loan officer. And there's not a lot of us out there, the Covenant Home Loan Program trained officers.
Both trains. Okay.
Yeah, they required us to come to in-person training for this loan program when they were right before they were going to roll it out. And there's only so many people in the Housing Finance Commission that can give this training. So there's only so many people that were able to attend, and there's only so many people that are now trained to do it.
And sadly, Bryan isn't. No, I'm just kidding.
Sadly, Bryan is. So that means you're working with.
Yeah. So folks, Bryan Laflamme here again. For any of you podcast listeners or new joining our podcast or YouTube live here, TikTok live, whatever, Clapper, whatever platform you're watching this on, multi-stream.
I'll never believe Clapper's a real thing. I think you've been.
It is. We've got 1,000 viewers right now on Clapper.
So again, it's not real.
Yeah. Anyways, so any of you folks just tuning in. So Bryan Laflamme here. Quick reminder: he is a local Washingtonian lender. So here he can help you with pretty much all of the down payment assistance programs here that the state covers. Right? Would you say that's true?
Mm-hmm. Everyone.
Every one of them. Yeah, including this program. So if you would like to, look into if you think that this sounded like you fit the description of if homeownership wasn't a possibility, even like you looked into it last year or 6 months ago, but the numbers just didn't make sense and you were looking at a different down payment assistance program type, it's worth another look if you qualify for this program.
That's a great point.
You should definitely reach out to us so we can get you connected to Bryan. I'm going to have all of our contact information, mine or Bryan. I don't care, whichever you want to start with, reach out to one of us.
Hey, if you're on Clapper now, which I believe is a fake program Aaron's been making up, do a loan application for the Covenant Home Loan Program, and that's how I'll know it's real. That's the only way I'll know it's real. But that's a great point about maybe the numbers didn't quite work out for you last year, earlier this year. We have had clients who the numbers, their pre-approval, because they couldn't get as much down payment assistance money, their pre-approval was too low for either what they wanted or what was available on the market. And now this Covenant Home Loan Program has increased their pre-approval amount without increasing their mortgage amount or their monthly payment. In fact, it brings your monthly payment down because it does two things for you. It allows you to get a conventional loan, So you don't have the mortgage insurance of an FHA loan. And because you're putting 20% down, you also don't have any mortgage insurance on this conventional loan. So you could have been qualified for, say, a $300,000 loan amount with an FHA down payment assistance, and that would have qualified you for maybe a $325,000 purchase price, we'll say. Well, with the Covenant Home Loan Program, that pre-approval moves up into the 400s for the exact same payment that you were qualified for before.
That is amazing. You literally just jumped like 100,000 on a purchase price buying power. There's been no other program in the world that I can think of that I've ever ran into, and I've been doing this for over a decade, folks. Our team has had hundreds of home buyers in Washington State, and I cannot think of a program that has just instantly given someone that qualifies for it that much more buying power without having to basically pay a Pied Piper an arm and a leg to get it. You know what I mean?
What sort of economy are you working in, Aaron Morrow, where you're paying Pied Piper's body parts?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, no, I think this is a tough market. You just said you don't want to know and put your call me cup up as if it was a
call me. Well, I can't talk about it live, but if you
call me on
we can just on Clapper. Yeah. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember the Office, the TV show, but like the bit,
the best show ever shown.
That one where Ryan on The Office, he came up with woof, where it was like you'd send out a blast and
a call,
a fax,
yeah,
Facebook Messenger, yeah, like that's. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing right now on multi-streaming. We're just sending out a woof multi-stream, you know. So. But yeah, okay, so Bryan, go into that a little bit more though, like just for the folks in the back that maybe didn't hear it enough. So you're talking about someone that maybe qualified before in the 300s, and then now because of the 20% down boost, like that $100,000 or whatnot, depending on what county you qualify for, now it's like a $400,000 house, same exact market we're in. And
two things happen. One, you get to put more money down because you're eligible for more down payment assistance. So that dollar for dollar increases your purchase price. But also, you have a little bit lower rate and no mortgage insurance. So your payment goes down. So for the same payment, you could
There's no MI?
No, because you're putting 20% down.
Right. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, and then the interest rates, are they in line with the other Washington State DPA programs, or are they a little bit better?
So the interest rates, if you're watching and you ever want to find out what the rates are for down payment assistance through the Washington State Housing Finance Commission, just Google Washington State Housing Finance Commission today's rates. They publish them every day, and they are public knowledge, and every lender has to abide by those. So Home Advantage right now, depending on the sort of down payment assistance you're going to get, the most common, that interest rate for an FHA loan at Home Advantage is 7%. You get 4% down payment assistance.
Okay.
That's been the most popular up until now. The Covenant program right now, that rate is 6.75% for a conventional loan, no MI, 20% down. If you're below 80% of the area median income, that's a government loan, 6.75, an FHA or a conventional loan. If you're below 80% of the area median income is 6.75. If you're over, it's going to be 7.125.
Okay. So if you're under, do you have like a rough ballpark? Like, is that going to save someone like $50 a month on a loan for that 400, or is it going to be no?
I have no idea, but we can get that math out to people.
Yeah, we could definitely get that math. It's going to be a better monthly payment for sure.
Yeah. So the conventional Home Advantage is in the mid 7 range, while Covenant is in the low 7 range. Home Advantage for government is in the high 6 to low to mid 7 range, where government Covenant is 6.75. FHA Covenant, so which you could still do if you had to. There'd be reasons that we don't need to get into, the technical reasons of why someone would still use a government loan as opposed to a conventional loan, putting that much money down. But there are times when that happens. So the rates are a little bit better than the standard Home Advantage, which is the most commonly used down payment assistance program. So they're a little bit better, and the 20% down. So a little bit lower rate, no mortgage insurance, and 16% more in down payment assistance money to get to a full 20%.
There's like no downside if you qualify for this program. And it's not even, folks, it's not even just you gained that much more buying power, but if for whatever reason you just didn't want to dip your toes in the market because you were sticker shocked on your monthly payments, but you qualified for a home before, so like let's say you found those homes in the 300,000 range and you just couldn't afford the monthly payment then, if you do this 20% down program with the same purchase price now, boom, we've knocked down your monthly payment dramatically
lower. Yeah,
dramatically. So that's another reason to dip your toe back in and look into this program if you qualify for it, because it's just going to make that much more affordability on your monthly payment than had it been a typical, under 5% down payment assistance program that you've looked at before. Yeah.
Now, the Housing Finance Commission has a bunch of really incredible down payment assistance programs. This one blows them all out of the water, of course, but they're not for everybody. You have to be part of these communities. And you or the family member must have lived in Washington. We're the first state in the union to do this and the only one that's done it so far still. Have lived in Washington before the Fair Housing Act was passed. Now, I'm not sure if you guys, if those who are watching are aware how recent this history of segregation in housing is in our country. What a horrible stain it is on our country. The FHA, Federal Housing Authority, HUD put them in, created the FHA in the 1930s in order to help low and moderate income people be able to get into housing with low down payments and longer payback periods, so they had lower monthly payments. Before that, you'd be putting 50% down and you'd have a 5 or 10 year mortgage from your local bank. So the HUD stepped in and said, Housing and Urban Development stepped in and said, hey, we will insure these loans. So if these people don't pay, I can't pay for them, we'll buy them back, bank, you're safe. And so then the bank started to lend at lower down payments, much lower, and much longer terms for regular monthly payments. However, you guys may have heard that redlining is illegal, and redlining is literally when you would mark on a map around a portion, a community on that map with a red line and say, we're not lending within this community. We're not lending within this geographic area. You can imagine what sorts of people, what ethnic groups lived in that geographic community at that time and why they do that. The FHA is the one who invented that. So it's illegal to do, but the government invented that, and that was just in the 1930s. And then as soon as the 1960s, when my parents were kids, like they were teenagers, April of 1968, you would have clauses in contracts that would say, if you buy this house, when you sell it, you are not allowed to sell it to a non-white couple. So this is how these communities were barred from getting into the housing market. And that is why this legislation was passed, and that is why we're trying to help this generation, who are a few generations behind us. Like, it's so recent in our past that is the impetus behind helping remove a lot of the barriers to home ownership for people.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, if you're someone that, like, if you think you qualify for this, it's definitely worth looking into. And if you find out you don't, there's plenty of other programs that we can rule out for you to at least get started on that path. We've said this so many times on this podcast, but there's never a wrong time to look into home ownership. And the best time is to look into it now versus later, so we can help you come up with a game plan and actionable steps to get there, versus just having it be a pipe dream that you never look into. You never get assistance from a team that actually has your back and wants to see you get there. I can't tell you how many times that I've taken clients on journeys where I meet them 4 years ago and we finally get them into a house today, but because they did all that work. And then the biggest feedback I get is, Aaron, if I never took that step 4 years ago to talk to you and get this ball rolling, I'd still be in the same place now, and I wouldn't have keys to a house.
I think a great misnomer that people have is that doing a mortgage application or talking to a realtor means I'm buying a house. You're just
no.
Doing is fact finding. You're seeing where you are and where that is in relation to where you want to be. And maybe we've said it before, maybe you're at the front door of your new house. Maybe you're down the sidewalk. Maybe you're down the street. Maybe you're in another state and you got to get in a plane to get there. It doesn't matter where you are. You know where you want to go. So let's just find out where you are and then take steps towards where you want to go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So yeah, there's a bunch of other down payment assistance programs. I don't think we should go over them all because it's kind of number dense, but you have Home Advantage, you have, which is, the most popular down payment assistance program. We have down payment assistance programs for people who have a disability that meets with the Americans with Disability Act. We have different income limit down payment assistance programs that'll have different interest rates. We have ones in-house that aren't through the Housing Finance Commission that'll allow for down payment assistance as well, 3.5% to 5% of the purchase price. There's a slew of programs available. Sorry if I used too technical of a term. That was from mortgage college, slew of programs available that if the down payment is holding you back, that's not the reason to not look into purchasing a home. I did a class for my business partners earlier this week, and one of the data points that we pointed out was 34% of homebuyers still believe you must have 20% down to buy a house. That's a huge number. That's a huge, huge, huge number, and you do not. Now, this Covenant loan program will give you 20%. That's incredible, but you don't have to wait to save your own 20%. If everything else about you qualifies for a house, but you just haven't been able to put away $50, $80, $90, $100,000 because you love your avocado toast and coffee once a week, that's on you. There's still a way for you to be able to come into the to the real estate market responsibly and start to build your own equity.
Plus, that avocado toast and the daily Starbucks isn't what's going to primarily help you save up for 20% down.
No,
that's a significant income change. But, I talk to people all the time that say, hey, Aaron, I'm finally ready. I've been saving up for years and I put $100,000 to the bank. Let's get into the market. And I'm like, because then I'm just thinking about these houses they could have bought in South King County for mid 200,000s, like back in 2000.
Man,
and now to rip the Band-Aid off to show them this house is now a $600,000 house. But if you wait 5 more years, the conversation is going to be like, this house is now a $1 million house. Do you
remember we did our rent versus
nothing's ever a guarantee, but
but for the past, you remember when we did our rent versus own on the podcast?
Yeah.
So you say nothing's ever a guarantee, but what is a guarantee is that real estate has gone up 74 out of the past 82 years. And the past 63 years, Pierce County real estate has gone up 5.09% per year in aggregate. Right. So that's the guarantee. Now, the guarantee that it's going to go up that next year is not. That we can't guarantee that. Could be 3%, could be 2%. It's already 6%. Think about it like this. Real estate has gone up 6.3% year over year at a time when interest rates have been in the 7% range, at a time when inventory going from all-time lows, but is continuing upward. We're only at a month and a half of inventory in Washington, but we're 3.1 months nationwide. So at a time when inventory is climbing up, a time when interest rates are steadily at the highest that they've been outside of the past 2 years, for 15 years, and at a time when mortgage application purchases are at a level that we haven't seen since 1995. So we have the amount of purchase applications, people looking to buy a house and doing a mortgage for them, that we had in 1995. We have 28% more people than we had in 1995. Inventory is going up, rates have stayed elevated, and real estate prices still went up 6.1% or 6.3% year over year. So everything is every headwind that you could possibly think of is beating against real estate appreciation, and it continues. And the reason why
it's still the safest thing to put your money in.
You get to use it because you got to live inside, so you get to use it. Rental prices keep going up, and they're going to keep going up. You don't have control over that. You got to use it, and we are still vastly undersupplied for the amount of people that need housed. That it has no choice but to go up, because even at the levels, such low activity levels from buyers, real estate continues to go up because demand still outpaces supply.
It's true.
That's the guarantee we can make, is basic economics.
Yeah. And even like currently, I was looking at a market snapshot, and of course there were times that we got to crazy low, like less than 1 week's worth of inventory in King County. during the pandemic. Right now, we're back up to about two and a quarter months worth of inventory. But that's still very much a seller's market.
Yeah,
we're
if
not.
we had come to 2.5 months of inventory from 4 to 5 months, so 6 months is a balanced market.
Yep.
Two to 2.5 months of inventory. If we had gone down to there, we would be losing our minds with how few homes are for sale.
Right.
So the fact that we went up from 1 week to 2 to 2.5 months is an emotionally tricky thing, because we're still in a seller's market, but sellers now feel like it's more of a buyer's market because
they do, because they're like, why can't I sell my home for $300,000 above list price? Like,
yeah.
I was just talking to, not to pivot this, but I was just talking to a homeowner that wanted to know how much he could get for his house. He bought it in 2022. It's in Tacoma. It was in the high 3, low 4 range of list price. He bought it for $750,000. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out and talk to him more to figure out if the plan was to try to do a flip or like a long-term play on it. Either way, he's interested in selling it off, but it's not like the actual where it's caught up.
$750 and it's worth 400 now.
No, it was worth 400 in 2022.
And now
he bought it for 750, all cash. Hasn't really done any repairs or updates to it. And now he wants to get all of his money back out of it. But it's kind of in the low 5s. Folks, one thing we've been looking at is numbers. And this doesn't mean
that's an anomaly. That guy was not, poor guy. But no,
some people, and this is going on, this craziness is going on in Bellevue in the east side, like nuts right now. This is going on there. But for Tacoma, I thought it was a one-off. I thought it was pretty interesting. But one thing I will say is with the market right now, folks, is people who bought really high and went crazy during 2022. Right now, we're seeing, on average, this is an over generalized average, but house prices in the greater Seattle area are about at where they were in 2022, because we had such crazy appreciation, inflation happen during that first part of the pandemic that we dipped a little in 2023 to kind of just recoup in the market. And now it's kind of right back up where it's at a steady pace now, and it's on a more healthy line. But the people that bought at that height right then and are trying to sell under 2 years later and make a huge amount of profit, they're going to have to hold for a little bit longer.
They're thinking it's 2020 to 2022. And let Aaron and I be clear. Neither of us want somebody to be able to purchase a house and sell at a crazy profit 2 years later. That's an unsustainable market. That snapshot in time from 2020 to 2022, we never want to see again. 4 to 6% appreciation. It keeps ahead of inflation. It allows you to build wealth over time. You can live in a house for 5, 6, 7 years and then move into either something that you really want, or move that into investments, or just have a nest egg for your own retirement. That's the responsible way to build wealth over mid to long term. Nobody wants 22% appreciation a year. Ugh.
No, yeah, it will be unsustainable for the rest of the world. So it just won't. It won't work. So that's where we're at, folks. I think there's plenty of programs to look into. We've also talked about some other ones like Zero Down USDA. That's kind of geographically restrictive, but always a nice one to at least look into. There's so many options. So just reach out to us if you're in Washington State, or you know what, if you're just if you're a fan of the show and you like listening and you kind of want to reach out and get connected locally where you are anywhere in the States, feel free to reach out to us and we'll make sure we get you connected with a team that's local to you that can look into all of your options that your state, offers. Home ownership should be for everyone. And I keep saying that. And it's even on my cup, everyone deserves a dream home that you can buy, not rent, so, it's that simple, folks. This was a quicker one. If you have any questions, reach out to us. Again, like I said, we'll have all of our contact information in the description and the comments. My name's Aaron Morrow, local realtor in the greater Seattle area, obviously licensed for all of Washington State. But I primarily work with clients, both buyers and sellers in King, Pierce, and Snohomish counties. I go down to Thurston and up to Skagit for people I really like. And,
Only the clapping people.
yeah, only the clapper people. And then Bryan, obviously, all of Washington and other states that he can get into with you. But either way, we've got you covered for the whole state. Reach out to us, or the whole U.S. Reach out to us. We'll get you hooked up.
Yeah.
And even in Canada, I got Canada peeps I can hook you up with if you're.
A lot of really great information on down payment assistance programs that are available to you guys. Reach out. It's a big deal. Like uncover some rocks and see if they fit you.
And again, this is mainly for sizzle for all, because people always join at the last minute on this podcast. Guys, what we just covered was a brand new program in Washington State. You got to qualify for it, and there's certain parameters. So go back to the beginning of the show to listen if you might qualify. 20% down payment assistance program, folks. It's a huge deal. It can add easily $100K to your buying power. And have the same monthly payment, basically. Like, this is a huge deal. Look into it. You'd be crazy not to look into it if you think you qualify. So I'm not calling anyone crazy, but I guess I am.
You literally just did.
Yeah. You would be crazy. No. Okay, guys. Well, reach out to us. Off next week. Again, on the next week. You know the drill. We'll hit you.
Also, hey, happy belated birthday to Aaron Morrow, the 5th.
Thank you. Yeah, right after America's birthday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fireworks are still going off in, Timberlane in part of Covington. So, yeah. Good. Well, thanks, folks. We'll chat with you soon. Have a nice. Thanks, Bryan. We're both drinking coffee.
Super synchronistic.
Yeah. See you next time.